Just after midnight, the skies over Kyiv lit up in fire. Air raid sirens wailed. Families rushed to shelters. And within minutes, Russia unleashed one of the largest aerial assaults since the war began. Nearly 600 drones and 50 missiles tearing across Ukraine's skies. Some were intercepted, but others broke through, striking hospitals, homes, and power stations. A 12-year-old girl lost her life. Dozens were injured, and entire cities went dark. But here's the real question. Why now? Why this sudden massive escalation? And what does it mean for the future of this war? For Europe, and even for America? Let's break this down. Russia's assault wasn't just another attack. This was one of the heaviest bombardments in months. Ukrainian officials reported nearly 600 Iranian-made Shahid drones and around 50 cruise and ballistic missiles launched in waves, targeting not only military infrastructure but also civilian areas. Yes, Ukraine's air defense systems, bolstered by Western technology like the US-made Patriot missiles, managed to intercept many. But no system is perfect. A hospital wing collapsed. Apartment blocks burned. Power plants were crippled, leaving thousands without electricity. And here's the chilling part. This wasn't a random night of violence. The timing was deliberate. The attack came as world leaders gathered at the UN General Assembly in New York. Russia wanted to send a message, not just to Ukraine, but to the West. And the question Americans should be asking is, what exactly is Putin trying to say? Let's zoom out. Why unleash this scale of destruction now? Analysts suggest 3 possible reasons. First, intimidation. Russia wants to remind Ukraine and its Western allies that it still has the capacity to strike anywhere, anytime. By hitting energy grids and hospitals, Moscow is trying to weaken morale, especially as winter approaches. Second, political messaging. During the UN Assembly, Russia officially denied targeting civilians, claiming it only goes after military assets. But the reality on the ground paints a different picture. The timing of the strikes wasn't accidental. It was about showing power, while denying responsibility. Classic Kremlin playbook. Third, pressure on the West. Russia knows American politics are divided. Support for Ukraine has become a partisan issue in Washington. Putin's gamble may be that images of devastation could push the US into either rushing more aid or hesitating due to war fatigue at home. And make no mistake, for Americans watching this war from afar, this isn't just over there. This has ripple effects right here. Some might ask, why should the US care? Let's be real, wars overseas often feel distant. But this one touches America's economy, security, and values. Energy prices. Every missile Russia fires at Ukraine's power plants threatens European energy stability. That means potential spikes in global oil and gas prices, hitting American wallets at the pump. Democracy versus authoritarianism. For decades, the US has positioned itself as a defender of democratic nations against authoritarian regimes, allowing Russia to bulldoze Ukraine unchecked would send a dangerous signal, not just to Moscow, but to Beijing, Tehran, and Pyongyang. Military posture. If Russia gains the upper hand, NATO nations on Ukraine's border could be next. That could drag American troops into a direct confrontation, something no one wants, but something Washington can't entirely ignore. So yes, this war may feel far away, but its consequences are closer than many realize. Beyond geopolitics, let's not forget the human faces of this war. Imagine being a parent in Kyiv, waking up your child at midnight, rushing to the basement as sirens scream overhead, hoping tonight won't be the night your home takes a direct hit. Imagine doctors operating in darkness because power stations are down, or students trying to learn in schools with shattered windows and sandbagged classrooms. In this latest assault, a 12-year-old girl was killed in her sleep, dozens of others wounded. These aren't soldiers. These are ordinary people. And that's the heart of it. Wars aren't just fought between armies. They're fought in living rooms, in hospitals, in playgrounds. And Russia knows that. By striking civilians, it's waging psychological warfare. So, how has the US reacted? Washington condemned the strikes immediately. President Biden's administration reaffirmed its commitment to Ukraine, promising to accelerate delivery of air defense systems, drones, and ammunition. At the Pentagon, officials are weighing new aid packages. But here's the domestic wrinkle. Congress is divided. Some lawmakers argue the US has already spent too much. over $70 billion in aid since the war began. Others insist that pulling back now would hand Putin exactly what he wants. For American viewers, this political debate is crucial, because whether aid continues, slows, or even stops, it will shape not just Ukraine's survival, but America's credibility worldwide. There's another battlefield here that often gets overlooked: information. Russia isn't just firing missiles, it's firing narratives. On state TV and online platforms, Moscow insists it never targets civilians. It portrays Ukraine as weak and divided, and the West as hypocritical. And this matters because public opinion shapes policy. If Americans believe the war is unwinnable or not worth it, pressure mounts on Washington to pull back. If Europeans grow weary of energy shortages, their governments may crack. That's why stories like this, the midnight skies over Kyiv, are more than headlines. They're part of a larger struggle for truth. So where does this go from here? Experts predict Russia will intensify strikes as winter nears. Cold, darkness, and fear are weapons in themselves. Ukraine, meanwhile, is counting on Western support to keep its air defenses strong and its population resilient. For Americans, the choice isn't simple. Continue funding Ukraine's fight and risk political backlash at home, or step back and risk a stronger, bolder Russia abroad. Neither option is cheap. Neither is safe. But one thing is clear: what happens in Kyiv tonight could shape what happens in Washington, Brussels, and beyond tomorrow. So when you see images of Kyiv's skyline burning, don't dismiss it as just another faraway war. This is a story about power, freedom, and the cost of looking away. The world is watching. Russia has shown its hand. Now the question is, how will America and the West respond? What do you think? Should the US keep supporting Ukraine at all costs? Or is it time to scale back? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your take. And if you found this breakdown useful, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video. Because understanding these global events isn't just about news. It's about the future we're all stepping into.